Well, election season is heating up, and so is the war of words between the two major political parties. Tonight, the opposition leader is firing back once again at the PLP's chairman. We'll tell you why. Plus, more support is on the way for mental health services in the country. The health minister outlining 2 key initiatives for those needing help. And later, Christians around the world are preparing to celebrate Palm Sunday tomorrow. But do you remember the meaning behind the traditions? Well, our Danielle Miller speaks to a local minister for the facts. These stories and more as Our News Weekend starts now. This is Our News Weekend. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Megan Shepard. As election season begins to pick up, both of the major political parties have been trading political shots over the past few months. And tonight, the Free National Movement leader is hitting back at the PLP chairman's view of the FNM. Pintard saying that Mitchell, along with the governing PLP, has bigger fish to fry. Our Joshua Williams tells us more.
Opposition leader Michael Pintard hitting back at an assessment of the Free National Movement made by Progressive Liberal Party Chairman Fred Mitchell. Mitchell has not been shy in sharing his commentary about the opposing party, especially following the exit of Central Grand Bahama MP Iram Lewis and the announcement that Killarney MP and former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis would not be renominated for the seat. Mitchell predicting both of these events to be the beginning of the downfall for the Free National Movement. But Pintard is firing back, saying the PLP chairman needs to look in the mirror.
Well, again, I'm not sure where Mr. Mitchell was when he made those nonsensical statements. It would be useful for him to come home, spend more time working with his cabinet colleagues in addressing the issue of the high cost of living. We still have a challenge in terms of the amount of violence that's in our communities, and we have a significant problem with respect to immigration, matters that he can contribute to.
Mitchell also making claims of corruption within the opposition, saying the way to spell corruption is FNM, even going as far to describe a UBP presence within the party. Pintard says it's simply a deflection.
I understand the pressure that the PLP is under there. We are all waiting to see what is the outcome of the U.S. indictment and who the public official is that whether or not they are cabinet or they're in parliament, etc. We are very much interested. So I understand the pressure he must be feeling in terms of trying to deflect from issues that affect their administration. What we do know is that they are in the chair and that numerous issues have arisen that show that they are not following the law.
But he didn't stop there. Pintard was photographed helping to fight wildfires in Grand Bahama 2 weeks ago, Mitchell calling it a photo op. Pintard questions how someone outside of the nation's second city can make those claims.
Mr. Mitchell has very little history in contributing in a significant way to the people of Grand Bahama. My reputation in Grand Bahama is clear in terms of the social outreach I've been engaged in since I moved to Grand Bahama. So this is nothing new to residents.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
Well, the political season is indeed slowly heating up as the country looks ahead to the next general election set for 2026. And one familiar face says he plans to run again. Economic Affairs Minister Michael Halkitis confirming this week that he plans to throw his hat back in the ring, saying he will run in St. Barnabas constituency. His comments came on the sidelines of a groundbreaking ceremony for the new Coconut Grove Advanced Health Center.
You see this magnificent facility that we just broke the ground for? This was right up there in my 10-point plan when I ran as a candidate in the last election. It wasn't successful, but we continue to work, and some of the things are coming to fruition right now. So this is one step. It's going to be huge. As Minister said, this is about 15 months worth of construction. And so we are looking forward to having employment in the community for the young people who are interested. And, we continue to look for ways to improve the infrastructure. We're doing some road works here in conjunction with Ministry of Works. And the next move is to address the housing situation. So stay tuned.
Meantime, amid a rise in alleged suicide, Senator Darren Pickstock is expressing concern over the issue and pushing for it to be approached with compassion. The Royal Bahamas Police Force reported a more than 30% increase in alleged suicides in 2024. Add to that, an increase in men calling the crisis center's suicide hotlines, expressing feelings of hopelessness. While acknowledging positive movements made by the government, Pickstock says more can be done.
I think the way we are approaching it in a gentle, compassionate way is the best way to approach it. There is more that can be done, of course. Of course, I would like to see more guidance counselors in school, specialized guidance counselors in school. I would like to see more psychiatrists who specialize in mental health. And I think these initiatives will help aid in the fight against suicide.
There has been 6 suicides and several attempted suicides recorded for the first 3 months of the year. Last month, police reported 2 alleged suicides in 1 week, both of the incidents involving men. Pickstock stressed the importance of being your brother's keeper.
There are many things that can be contributing to why people are choosing to attempt or commit suicide, but from a general standpoint, I think there is that level of hopelessness when you reach to that point, and so you need support to get through that. You need your brothers to get through that. You need the right support.
Well, more support is on the way for mental health services in the Bahamas. This week, the health minister gave an update on 2 key initiatives for those needing help. A new group of mental health nurses are set to join the public health system. Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville confirmed that the nurses graduated late last year and are now being deployed.
The Sandals Rehabilitation Centers are community centers, not only in New Providence and Grand Bahama, throughout the Family Islands. The reason why this is important is because we want to expand services, not just to treat chronic cases with IV or IM injections, but also to be able to do more counseling and public awareness as it relates to many of the mental health challenges that exist at the national level and by extension the community level.
And to make access to mental health care even easier, a mobile app will soon be available.
Well, we are now in the experimental stages with the app. One of the things we realize is the stigma with mental illness. A lot of individuals who suffer from things like anxiety, clinical depression, sometimes are shy to go into these public health facilities and go into a psychiatric program. And so what we realize what other countries are doing is via telemedicine, we're producing these apps where consultation can take place by way of an IT system that's reducing the stigma associated with presenting at the various clinics.
And in news from the courts, a corrections officer is facing charges after he allegedly smuggled contraband into the prison. Tamiko Major is accused of bringing 1.5 pounds of marijuana, 5 packs of cigarettes and alcohol onto the compound on March 31st. As a result of the discovery, police executed a search warrant on Major's home at Lumumba Lane on April 9th. There, they allegedly found under 2 ounces of marijuana. He denied the charges at his arraignment before Magistrate Raquel Wims. He was granted $6,000 bail and returned to court on June 4th for his trial. Well, we are already nearing the 2025 hurricane season, and now is the time to think ahead. Is your home hurricane ready? Are your windows and doors impact-proof? Today, our Danielle Miller stopped by a local company that has been in the business for over 2 decades, boasting not only about value, but also about their local manufacturing operations.
We are on a field trip to the grand opening of Storm Frame Windows. As you can see, my hair is pulled back because this is not just a field trip for leisure, but we are also going to get a demonstration in their factory on how hurricane resistant their products really are. This is the level of strength and quality the company produces. Storm Frame Windows has operated in New Providence since 1999, and 3 years ago they moved to their new location in Airport Industrial Park, complete with their own factory. But This Saturday, they officially celebrated their grand opening. Founder of Storm Frame Windows, Adam Dan, believes they have become the most extensive dealership network in the Caribbean, providing authentic impact-rated hurricane products.
So here's a standard-looking vinyl door. However, if you look inside, you can see the steel reinforcing, all the hinges and hardware screwed into steel. The glass is actually structurally siliconed in and glued into the frame. This is really important. If not, your glass is going to get sucked out.
He says their products were put to the ultimate test during Hurricane Dorian, adding there are no tests that can duplicate the historic storm's strength. Yet, he insists, their customers did not experience product failure. Dan stressing this is why local residents should support the authentic, high-impact products.
There's a lot of products here that are being sold that they claim they're impact rated, and they're not remotely. A lot less than we are, and it's really just dangerous. You know, your home and your family should be your biggest investment, and it certainly is mine, and you need to protect that.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Danielle Miller.
When Our News Weekend comes back from the break, Art Lucaya 2025 dubbed a huge success by hundreds of attendees. Our News caught up with 2 internationally acclaimed artists for their feedback. Plus, the 4th Taste and Tell Processed Food Expo set to take over Western Esplanade in just 2 weeks. We'll tell you everything you need to know to make sure you're there. The details coming up when Our News Weekend returns.
Diet-friendly special.
Art Lucaya 2025 dubbed a huge success over in Grand Bahama. This year's theme is Steady Sunward, drawing hundreds of art lovers to several events across 3 days. 2 celebrity artists tasked with sharing their journeys and words of advice to the local artist community, sharing their thoughts on the local scene while taking in the art at Mosaic Art Hub. Mosaic Art Hub, the vibrant new home of the Art Lucaya and the Grand Bahama Artists Association, proudly displaying the work of Bahamian artists recently as this year's celebration of art kicked off. Ambassador and celebrity artist Jamal Roll highly impressed with the work displayed, saying he believes Grand Bahama is the epicenter of an artistic renaissance in the Bahamas.
Grand Bahama is such a creative place. I come here for inspiration, to relax. And I've traveled the world extensively. And one of the things I always do is check out the art and other exhibitions. And I can tell you that this exhibition is on par or goes beyond any other exhibition that I've seen around the world. So I am encouraged, and I am happy to be a Bahamian, happy to be a creative. I'm glad I came here today.
But on the flip side, interdisciplinary artist LeVar Monroe says he sees more potential for growth and creativity. The artist works predominantly in painting and sculptures, but says this year's exhibition was painting heavy. Here's what he believes is missing.
International exposure to museums. I mean, we have the National Gallery, which is a good start, but I mean, outside of the National Gallery, there aren't much other branches. And again, I can always go back to Turn Gallery, which is in Nassau. And those guys, they are really branching out and pushing their artists to an international audience. Whereby something like this with the seascapes and the landscapes is more for a local crowd.
The artist has been living abroad for over 2 decades, and his work focuses on his travel around the world. Monroe says he believes a lot of art is based off intention and shared this insight.
So if you intend to just be a local artist, by all means do that. But I think, me personally, I'm more interested in what's happening here, but also internationally. And I say that, but I also say that knowing that there are Bahamian artists like myself who are also doing international stuff and doing it at a very, very high level. And maybe myself, along with others, can be examples for artists from like Freeport, artists from like Nassau to really push to go beyond.
An all-Bahamian extravaganza will take over Western Esplanade on April 26 for the Bahamas Agricultural and Industrial Corporation 4th Annual Taste and Tell Processed Food Expo. Under the theme Everything Bahamian, the event will feature an estimated 40 vendors from New Providence and the Family Islands. Supported by several companies in corporate Bahamas, it is hailed to be more than just an expo, but an elaborate display of authentic Bahamian foods, games, and music, with competitions for attendees and cash rewards for a few of the vendors.
Last year, we had the honor of partnering with the SBDC, awarding $5,000 each to the 4 winning food processors, which provided them the opportunity to build capacity and obtain necessary inputs for their small businesses.
This year, organizers are adding a new element to the menu that's sure to be a hit.
We're also going to have some mixed drinks this year. We've never had that in the past, but we decided that because the event is growing and where it's located, we will have 4 types of mixed drinks persons out there. The first set is that we're going to do mixed drinks only, and then we have persons who do local beers or have local beers out there, and then we'll have someone do daiquiris with coconut water as well too.
Well, still to come on Our News Weekend, the meaning behind the traditions. Our Danielle Miller speaks to a local minister about the significance of tomorrow's Palm Sunday celebrations. But first,
we bring you the latest updates from the hardwood, and beach soccer action is getting ready to heat up this summer. Stay with us. Our Sports Weekend is next. Good evening, welcome to Our Sports Weekend. I'm Tej Adderley. Buddy Hield has become one of the NBA's premier three-point shooters since he's made his debut a decade ago. And last night, he took it up a notch, crossing a big career threshold to help his team get a much-needed win. Hield had 16 points and 4 rebounds off the bench to help his Golden State Warriors get a 103-86 win over the Portland Trail Blazers. He made 4 three-pointers, surpassing the 200 mark for the 7th time in his 9-season career. Jimmy Butler led the team with 24.7 rebounds and 5 assists. The Warriors sit at a peculiar spot in the standings, within 1 game of the Timberwolves and the Clippers to stay out of the play-in tournament. They can take things into their own hands and lock up a playoff spot when they play the Clippers tomorrow. But he happened to be in Portland to support DeAndre Ayton as he lent a hand to Bahamas basketball. The Portland big man held a fundraiser that raised $75,000 for Bahamas basketball youth initiatives and to make sure that the team is locked and loaded for runs at the 2027 World Cup and the 2028 Olympics. Bahamas national team head coach Chris DeMarco, whose day job is being an assistant coach for the visiting Warriors, and Bahamas national team general manager LJ Rose all attended the fundraiser along with my guy John Marknut of 10th year seniors. Ayton, Hield, and Coach DeMarco led the team on an historic run. They're out to prove that it's not a fluke. Congratulations to them for all the good work. And more good news from the hardwood. One of our premier female college athletes announced last week she's entering the NCAA transfer portal. She sat down with our Sasha Lightburn to explain her why.
I want to play. I want to be able to contribute to wherever it is that I go, and just become like a better player, because I want to play pro. So I really want to go somewhere that can develop me and help me get a good education and just prepare me for my next step.
Rima Collins is one of several Bahamian women playing collegiate basketball in the United States. For the last 2 seasons, she spent her time at the University of Mississippi under the guidance of Grand Bahamian Yolette McPhee-McEwen. But Rima announced on April 1st that she would be entering the transfer portal.
I haven't really played much in the past 2 years, and this is due to numerous of reasons. And me and Coach Joe we sat down and we talked about it. And we thought, we both agreed that the best decision for me was to, enter the transfer portal and go somewhere, where I can be great.
The forward from Nassau spent the last 2 years with Coach Yo, where she averaged 3.1 points and 2.2 rebounds. But she says there's no bad blood between her and Coach Yo.
We cool. We still talk. We still keep in touch. She checks up on me here and there. So there's no beef or whatever. We're still good. Yeah. And we also know that this isn't the last time of us going to be together for, the national team and stuff like that. So it isn't the end for us.
And Rima says there's a lot she's taking with her that she's learned from Coach Yo.
She knows it's not just about basketball, she teaches a lot of life lessons, teaching us how to be, good people and having good character. She really made that a staple with us. She loved to talk about, hard work and you have to pay the game in order for it to pay you back. So yeah, just a lot of good lessons, a lot of things I can take with me to my next school.
And Rima was candid with me as she shared her views on the transfer portal.
It can be a good and bad thing because you think you're going somewhere and you think, you have all these visions in your head of what you're going to do there, and it doesn't go the way you expect it to. So, it could be a good and bad thing. This could not be the place for you, but it also could be you being impatient. So it really could go hand in hand.
Reporting for Our News Weekend, I'm Sasha Lightbourne.
Thanks, Sasha. Now we're going to head over to the Sand. The Bahamas has ascended to a regional beach soccer powerhouse in recent years. Now local recreational players have the chance to get in on some action. The Bahamas Football Association has announced that their beach soccer tournament is returning for 2025. Men's and women's matches will be played on Fridays and Saturdays at 6 p.m. beginning in July, with the tournament concluding in August. The BFA promises a fun environment for the whole family. So if you're looking for something to do on the summer weekends, you definitely want to check out the matches or even consider joining a team. The matches will be going on all summer long right at the foot of the Sidney-Poitier Bridge. For more information, check out the BFA's social media pages. The deadline to sign up is May 31st. Before we go, Jazz and the Yankees played the Giants early this afternoon. We'll talk about it tomorrow. That's a wrap for sports this evening. For Our Sports Weekend, I'm Tage Adderley.
Thanks so much, Tage. On the other side of this break, meteorologist Ian McKenzie steps into the weather center. He's got a look at temperatures across the country. Stick with us. Thanks for sticking with us. And now, for a look at temperatures across the country, we head on over to meteorologist Ian McKenzie standing by in the Weather Center. Ian.
Thanks, Megan, and good evening, Bahamas. Welcome to your Saturday evening forecast, where across the country today we had a mix of sun and clouds, but right now outside our studios we're in the clear skies as that front push through. 77 on the outside, feels like the same. Winds are from the east-northeast at 10 miles per hour. Across the country at this time in our nation's second city, Freeport, we have 73, 74s in Allenstown as well as in Marsh Harbor, 77 in Nicholstown, the capital, and in Governor's Harbor, 76 in Great Harbor Key. The Central Bahamas, we have 78 in Kemps Bay, as well as Black Point, and in Georgetown, Exuma, as well as in Arthurstown, Kidd Island, 77 in Coburn Town, a pair of 79s in Deadman's Key, and in Port Nelson, 78, Rum Key, skies. In the southeast Bahamas, continuing with those 78s in Duncantown, Ragged Island, as well as Abraham's Bay, Mayaguana, under some rain, cool temperatures. 79 in Colonel Hill, as well as in Providenciales, Turks and Caicos. 80 in Delectable Bay, Acklands, and 78 in Matthewtown in Agua. Satellite and radar imagery at this time, we have a broad area of cloudiness. This is all associated with a frontal system that's weakening and already pushed through the capital, now making its way racing into the central Bahamas. We also have a stalled out frontal boundary now translated into a shear line across the southeast Bahamas that should continue to trigger up pockets of isolated weather across that area. High pressure should build, however, weak high pressure ridge across the area, and that should translate into beautiful conditions for Holy Week. Boarding forecast, yes, go there and get those fish for Easter. Winds will be northerly 10 to 15 knot, seas only 2 to 4 feet. High tide at 8:30, 8 p.m. tonight, low tide at 2:59 a.m. tomorrow morning. In your extended forecast, folks, look at Holy Week. Just gorgeous weather. We expect another front to push through the area Wednesday, Thursday. Chance a few isolated shower activity mainly across the northwest Bahamas. Into the holiday weekend, we expect breezy conditions to pick up, breezy, not windy. So we're looking at about 15 to 20 knots for you boaters. So you have ample time to get your fish for all those hungry fish lovers. That's a wrap in the evening forecast. Make it a great, safe one night, everyone.
All right, thanks so much, Ian. Tomorrow is Palm Sunday, the Sunday before Easter, commemorating Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem. Its name originates from the palm branches waved by the crowd to greet and honor Jesus Christ as he entered the city. Traditionally, members of the Christian faith take to the streets with the palm branches to mark the beginning of Holy Week. And as we prepare to mark the occasion here at home, our Danielle Miller speaks with a local minister to find out the deeper meaning behind the sacred day.
Palm Sunday commemorates, on the Christian calendar, Jesus' triumphant entry into Jerusalem riding on a donkey.
It's the day on the Christian calendar that marks the start of Holy Week. The biblical event is mentioned in all 4 Gospels and is marked around the world with special church services and symbolic traditions. But some may not fully understand the deeper meaning of the day or its powerful symbolism. We spoke with Reverend Carla Culmer, minister at Trinity Methodist Church, who explains why the timing during Passover is significant.
When Jesus journeyed into Jerusalem on the donkey, it coincided with the Jewish Passover. The Jewish people were preparing to celebrate Passover. And so as they were selecting their lamb to remind them of, how they were delivered from slavery in Egypt, here was Jesus going in on a donkey, declaring himself, in essence, to be God's Passover lamb. It would lead to Good Friday, where he would die for humanity.
The story tells of Jesus who entered Jerusalem and how the people welcomed him with palm branches. It was a moment believed to fulfill ancient prophecy.
Like the palms symbolize victory. We read that you waved the palms of victory, that they were declaring him to be king. But for us, it reminds us that, Jesus already won the victory. But the donkey also symbolizes that Jesus came as a Prince of Peace. Kings rode horses declaring they'd come to war. But the donkey in the symbolism in the story is that it's a symbol of peace.
Reverend Culmer added that Palm Sunday should be more than tradition. It should be a reminder of faith, freedom, and purpose.
I think sometimes we don't understand what the meaning is and why we're doing it, and it just becomes a tradition. And if it just becomes a tradition, then the meaning is lost, then people could say, we don't need to do this. And I think we need to rediscover what's the symbolism. Why the donkey? Why did Jesus come? Why Palm Sunday? Because if Palm Sunday didn't happen, the cross wouldn't have happened.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Danielle Miller.
And with that, we thank you so much for joining us for Our News Weekend. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepard. Have a safe and wonderful evening. Hey guys, Megan Shepard here. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Just click right over here. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so you stay up to date with content like this from the team you already trust.